Hi, welcome to another episode of Astro Talks. I'm Nicole Donnelly, and we are going to be speaking about the elements in your chart. And we've got astrologer Lucia Rabello to guide us through the conversation. And we have Astro Joy's Andrea Rickett joining us as well. Thank you for being here. And Lucia, do tell more about the signs and the elements and what they all mean, please.
So everything in astrology starts with the elements. What are the elements? So we have four elements: fire, earth, air, and water. And fire signs, we have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. In earth signs, we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Now, everything is elemental. The element is the basis for everything. Every time that we look at the planet, okay, what sign is it in a chart? But the element tells you so much. Why? Because fire represents action, movement, going, how the doing of things. So let's take a moment, in fire sign. Let's take a moment in there. How is your fire? Do you move? Is it easy for you to exercise? Is it easy for you to just get up and go? Is it easy for you to, when someone gives you a task, okay, I'm gonna do it? And are you happy? Are you entertained? Are you joyful? Those are, good qualities to look at how healthy your fire is. Are you like going out for a run, or just even like exercising in front of the TV, dancing, singing? How lively do you feel? It's very important because when fire is in a lower energy, then comes anger, then comes explosion and emotional, but it's a different type of emotional than a water sign. Sometimes when you see an orally emotional person, you may think, oh, that person is so emotional, may have a lot of water. No, like what you're looking, it's their fire that is not healthy, and it's just coming out in outbursts of like energy and anger. So those are the things that we want to like avoid, and that's why, okay, I need to move my energy. I need to awaken the fire. A great way to do that is practicing Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga, is to awaken that fire. So of course, if someone is missing the fire element, it's going to be so hard for them to get up and go to a Zumba class, that's just not going to happen. So, okay, how do we do this? Slowly, the medicine for fire is to start walking, start moving. Walking, I think it's a good compromise. It's not dancing. Now you can do dancing, stream it. You don't have to go to a studio, right? So that it was like, yeah, no way I'm stepping foot in a studio, right? People will say that. But now, okay, it's starting, with the footwork and all that, it may be a little complicated. So if you don't have any fire, so okay, start with something simple. Walking, Kundalini yoga, dancing, singing, every morning, sing every morning, get going with that awakening a little bit of, you don't have to dance a whole, ballroom. It's just, like a little happy dance, just to get that fire going. But in order to sustain it even more, the walking every day, and practicing Kundalini yoga will help it a lot.
I love Kundalini yoga. My husband and I did an online dance class too. That was really fun. Yeah. He likes to dance too.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. Yes.
Yeah.
And then with we have earth signs, So what is earth sign?
Andrea.
The And the earth element, how is it? The earth element, at its highest, it's so grounding. They're master builders. They are so reliable. That is the highest expression of the earth element. To do things, to build, to be able to set foundations. Organizers, Marie Kondo, she must have a lot of earth in her chart, like people that are professional organizers. I mean, there's, for some other people, is that a thing? Like, and yes, professional organizers, that's people that have a lot of earth in their chart, because it's how everything just fits, right? How everything is, everything is in, has a space and an area for it. So those are the things that earth likes to do. But when earth, it's missing in your chart, then take a look at your car. And that is a simple question that will tell us too much. How is your car? Is your car dirty? How do you keep it? I know sometimes your car can get a little dirty with, a few receipts, or a bottle of water. But is it like a whole nother closet in your car that you have, or is just a bunch of shoes and jackets and just bunch of bottles of water? Like, how is it? Do you keep your car dirty? How is the exterior, the interior? Your closet, how's your closet? Do you pile clothes like crazy? It's so hard to find stuff. Your drawers, how are they? So do you keep clutter around? And so that is a good tell of, to find out if how's your earth. And medicine for that is go clean, go declutter, go organize. Like I literally recommend to my clients, the Marie Kondo book, because that is so beneficial. I think declutter can get daunting for people that are missing the earth element. For someone that does not have a problem in that area, okay, I gotta declutter, I'm just gonna clean up, I'm just gonna, regular maintenance, my regular maintenance decluttering. But if you're missing the element, it's daunting, and it's a task that can get easily postponed because you don't know where to start. But Marie Kondo gives you the step by step, the rooms. Okay, you're going to start with this room, and then you're going to move into this, and then this other category, and this the next category. And it's very and the touching the clothes, does it spark joy, does touching an object. So it's a great way to really balance your earth element in an easy way too, without being too daunting.
Mm-hmm. It still is
Excellent.
daunting though. I recently went to this retreat, and I have a lot of earth, so I'm good there, but I also am a really sensitive empath. And what I just realized, just through discussions and being in this, we had this wellness retreat that featured decluttering as one of the sections, that the energy that's attached to all my things affect me. So it's like a two-step process. It's like, yes, I want to get rid of all the things, but when I surround myself with the things, then I get overwhelmed. It was really kind of interesting to like see that, because I know I'm an empath, and I know I have that really great book by Judith Orloff, the Empath Survival Guide. And so I know about like, sort of putting yourself in a bubble, like when you're going to go into a room full of people. But I never thought about it in the way of the stuff until just last weekend. I'm like, wow, like, because I'm like, I don't want all this stuff. Like, I've made the decision. I go in there, and then all of a sudden, like, here it all comes, and then I can't even move anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've thrown away like 3 things, and then I'm like, and I'm done. But like, I want to get rid of it. It was really interesting though, that aspect of it, because that's my like earth with the empath is even a whole other level of it, right? Because like, I want to get rid of the stuff, but then it just becomes like overwhelming because the stuff has energy.
Yeah, it does. And for me, like when I've had personal organizers come in and try to help me, because I have my fiery side, like a lot of fire, and I have earth. my moon is in earth, and I really like organized and systems, and like my closet's very organized, and I will have like a messy desk or things like that, or I have a junk drawer. And it's, I get so anxious when I have somebody in my space that's like going through my stuff. So I think, Andrea, that just, what you were saying about that, the energy that it has, it's like, you're disturbing my like
Mhm.
cozy spot. And, I want it cleaned out. And I even brought somebody into my home to help me with it.
And you were like, no, stop.
Like, I just
Come
need
into
to
my
leave the house.
Wait,
I
don't
can't
touch
do
that.
this. Yeah, and they have to go through, and like it's something you have to participate in too,
Yeah.
and it's one of the things that will get me triggered. Like, it's weird how that is a really triggering thing.
Mm-hmm. It
That
totally
right
is.
there, it's telling that then that's your missing element, that is. So even more you have to cultivate the organization and the decluttering and trying
Mm-hmm.
to keep things clean and organized, because that will balance out all the other elements. It's funny how it works. And it's because we do have a missing element, but sometimes all the other ones are imbalanced too. So just because, so when you take care of the root issue, then the other ones immediately start like, oh, because you start feeling good in that area that is missing the most, and then boom, right? And
Mm-hmm.
earth sign is funny because you reminded me, sometimes earth signs can get a little lazy if you have too much earth in your chart. Like, let's say if you have like 5, 6 planets, it's a lot of energy. It gets overwhelmed and it just doesn't do it. Just doesn't do anything because it's just too much. So, but if you have like 3, it's good. That's good. But yeah, if you have like 5, 6, it's 7. I've seen charts that have it, and it's just like, oh my god. And I ask people, how are you within these areas? And yes, and they tell me, yeah, like I'm a little lazy, like because it's just it's too much of it, and that's when it's imbalance. So you may have like the missing element, and you also may have like just over, like too much of it, like too
Mm-hmm.
much of fire is just gonna be a bulldozer, and it's just gonna go, no respecting boundaries, just boom 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 boom, right? And not like, okay, so the medicine for that, it's cultivating awareness to learn when to stop. Otherwise you're just going to like, not respect anyone else's, not even feelings, but that is the least of your concerns, for people that have too much fire, like, but they're thinking that the person, you're not going to respect it at all. So it's a matter of if you have too much of that, like too much of fire, be careful not overstepping too much. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, fire is healthy, it's good. We need courage, that's where it comes from. You need to be bold and stand up for things. So no, I'm not saying not to do those things. You still got to stand up and being bold. Like, we need that in life. It's a matter of like, okay, respect other people's boundaries at the same time, and
Mm-hmm.
not just like run over them.
Yeah. Not going too far one way or the other, I guess. That's that middle ground,
Yeah,
all of them. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I have
interesting.
4 fires and 2 earths.
That's
So
anything above 4, like, yeah, 4 and over, it's a lot. It's already imbalanced. So 3 is good, 2 to 3 is good, 4, 5,
Yeah, I have.
that's just too much. That already makes you too much of the other element. And then so you gotta learn to, balance the one that you have too much of, and to bring up the one that you're missing. So like, let's move on to air signs. What about air signs? So with with the air, with the, I'm sorry, air element, you are missing communication,
um,
speech.
what are the air signs?
Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So
Okay, thanks.
if you are like, if your missing element is air, then most likely you're not going to ask questions. You know, at the end of a talk, people will say, any questions?
Mm.
And the one that is not going to ask one for sure is the person missing, even though they want it, even though they may have the question lined up or the desire. It's like the words just don't come out.
Mhm.
So these people do better in intimate settings because then they are able to open up a little bit more, and not always, but it's a matter of practicing. So if their missing element is air, the medicine for that is to journal, to get things going, to write, and to journal in pen and paper. Journaling and the computer is not the same. It doesn't have the same effect for these people. So if you're missing element, if you have difficulty speaking up, if you, let's say, got the wrong food, you know, at the restaurant, a person that has no problem with air element, they will speak up and say, hey, you gave me the wrong, you know, the wrong order. The person that has air as missing element will say, well, I'll make do, you know, they just don't speak up. So it's literally learning to speak up, learning to communicate and putting themselves out there, which is going to be very uncomfortable, but it's a matter of like practicing. And just like anything else in life, you gotta be okay with being uncomfortable and know that you're gonna make mistakes and know that you're gonna be uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but it's just a matter of practicing. Like any other muscle, look at the elements just like a muscle in your body. You know, you have to exercise that muscle. So yes, it's not
So
easy. Mm-hmm.
what's Andrea, what's the air look like in your chart?
So I am 4 fire, 4 earth, 2 air, 2 water.
Oh wow. Okay. I've got, well, do you count the true note as one?
You don't count the true notes and you don't count the angles.
So I only have one in air for
Okay.
me.
Which does it say what planet it is?
Pluto.
Pluto. Okay. So when you have, it's in your chart, if you're looking at your chart and if you have only one, you cannot judge it by that to say that maybe you don't have that sign. Why? Because in your chart, when you come to this life, you either, and you're missing, and you only have one of that sign and two in another. Let's say in this case, you have one in air and let's say two on earth.
Yeah.
As an astrologer, we gotta ask the question and see if this person already came with a lot of air from a prior life and they're missing another element. Just because you have one planet in a given element, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the one that you're missing.
Interesting.
Because yes,
Well,
because you
so
already
but
have
in
that and
my,
you're missing another one. So it's a question, it's a dialogue, you know, to find out about it.
yeah, I mean, I did have a hard time speaking up. Like I was quite quiet for most of my life. I think which, you know, having so much fire, it can be a challenge because there's a lot of things that like to do or say, but then I wouldn't communicate it.
Mhm.
And so then there would be that, you know, the
Inner
explosions, you know.
conflict.
Yeah, and so as an adult, that's been a thing that I've been so aware of is speaking up and speaking up when it's important. So now I would say after, you know, 43 years on the planet, I'm much better with, you know, having adapted to balance that. Because I would just get quiet in situations and not know how to handle it, you know, and that was more like the introverty side of me. Um, and it's been something that I've worked on too, like consciously.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's if you don't have enough, right? So, like, I'm looking at Steve's chart and he has 6 in air.
That is a lot because that can be a person that either talks too much or doesn't talk because it's overwhelmed with too much in his head that it can be like, okay, I'm not, it's just too much, right? But in other way, it can be like, this, you know, it can go either or, you know, when you have like too much and because it's just so uncomfortable. And then, but if you have like too much, one way can be that it's just talking. But what are you talking? What are you communicating? It's what are you saying? Are you just gossiping? They're good people. When you have too much air, you just want information. You're just processing information in one, and you're looking for more information. It's just like an intellectual hunger.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
just want to find out more. But what are you doing with that information? Are you
Right.
applying it to something that matters, or it's just like, getting wasted, in the mind, that is just not, that has no value, no purpose. So what is it? What are you doing? These are people that you're talking to them, and they're immediately looking it up what you're telling them, like, oh yeah, so hello, I'm in a conversation with you right now, but it's like they're just, oh,
Yeah.
oh, really? Let me look into.
Definitely like this.
Yes.
What? Oh, okay. Totally.
Yeah, because they're just one, a stimulation. Their mind is just so stimulated all the time. But here's the thing, they're not processing a lot of the information. They're just acquiring it. So time
Mm.
out, time out. So it's like, okay, I need to come back into my body. These people also disconnect from their feelings, and they just operate from the head up. They're all
Mhm.
intellect, all mind. So it's a matter of like, woo, feelings, what's that? Or am I supposed to feel something? Like, no. So they can be prone to disease because they are not looking into the body. They're not looking down.
Mm.
So a great medicine for them, and even though they may not like it, it's really like stopping and just say, okay, I am in my body, practicing mindfulness, because then it's going to like make them get out of their head and look, and look down on them, look down in within them, and writing, because that journaling is going to help to organize their thoughts. they
Mhm.
can get they can be forgetful because they are all head, all mind. So they can be forgetful, and they can lose track of things. I'm like, oh, where are my keys? Where did I put that? Where? Because they're just so all over the place.
Uh-huh.
So bringing, coming down to themselves, and bringing themselves back, their awareness, and journaling, it will help them to get clarity in
Mhm.
that head that can be too much at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny too. I guess that's where the earth in me comes in handy for him. So
Yes. You ground him. You literally ground him.
yeah.
And water signs, water, water element. And then we have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So with the water element, when you have too much of the water element, you can get a little bit overwhelmed. And that's an understatement, because you get very overwhelmed. And you get other people's feelings and emotions. So it's hard to discern what emotions are yours and which ones are other people's. Also, because if
Mm.
you're not processing your emotions, and if you're not aware of what's going on in your life, you can get depressed. So these people are very prone to depression and addiction because they don't know how to handle that. Like, think about it. Like, imagine like a person that is a Leo sun that happens to have a lot of planets in Cancer. How is it going to, like, it's especially for a male, it's so hard to like come back to the body and pay attention to the feelings, like when you are like trained not to like do that, how our society was operating. So they are just they become addicts, like, so they, because so that's how, unfortunately, it happens because they are not processing the feelings. So AA, it's full of people that have tons of water signs that have not,
Mm.
processed their emotions, especially Pisces and Scorpio people. they are, harsher. So Cancer just goes within for the most part. They go inside their crap, their shell. So
Yeah.
they and they're more homey and they just get quiet. But Pisces and Scorpios, because they are so intuitive and they are so like they can see things, they know things, they're so clairvoyant, even though they don't want to acknowledge it or have a hard time accepting that. So they know they feel it, but then they feel an inner contradiction and they just don't know what to do. So they escape it. So they are escapist. And how do you escape it? Through alcohol or recreational drugs, and then they turn to pills. And so it's challenging. So that is why it's so important to really pay attention to your living environment and to your home and your work environment. Are you in the right profession? Are you in the right career? Are you in the right neighborhood? If you're not, work towards changing that, because it's just going to keep diminishing if they're not in the right area, because their gifts are so beautiful. They're very spiritual, they're very in tune with others and helping others. So just make sure that you are in the right area and the right service, because it will change their lives completely. And
Yeah. I
go.
was just gonna say my husband has a bit of water. He's got 4 signs in water. He's got 3 in Cancer and 1 in Scorpio. And when you were saying that, I was thinking about it because he's an iOS developer, but he loves to be around kids, and he would actually like to be a preschool teacher. You know, he loves that so much, but there's the part of him that like it doesn't hold the same status, you know? And whenever he needs to recharge, he goes and hangs out with his friends' babies, and toddlers, and he just loves the little kids, and that brings him so much joy. It's like you could just do that all the time. He wants to start a preschool or daycare or something. And for me, I don't want to at all. I have no desire. Like, but he loves little kids, And so it's funny because like moving closer to that, or have a doggy daycare because he loves dogs too. So so he talks about doing that. And there's not the same status that comes with being an iOS developer, or something, something that sounds more smart, I guess. And with so much water, like that just really resonated with the disconnect that's happening, and where he would probably be a lot happier doing something else.
Yes, because cancers, they are the veterinarians, they are, the pets, they and caring for others. So yes, like that is when they feel fulfilled, because
Yeah.
they're putting that homey, that nurturing, the taking care, like that's when that's you're they're built that way, just we are all built differently, and they're built that way that the caring is just comes so natural. Yes, it's yeah, it will bring a lot of fulfillment for sure. Now, if you're missing the water element, then you are going to not process emotions, and emotions are just going to be so hard. So you try to talk yourself out of your own emotions, you try to rationalize, and you use the logic as just like saying, oh no, it's just whatever, and then it just keeps burning down and burning down. So these are people that have a hard time crying. So those are one of the questions, like, do you cry? To find out how easily do you cry. Well, the last time I cried was a year ago. Okay, stop right there. Okay, we need to get you crying. We need to get the water ducts going. You need to start crying. So homework, right? Like watch, sad movies, because you need to get opening up the light, right, to that emotions. But yeah, like it's the element. It's water can get very people may not care about it so much because, oh, feelings like, oh, fire, well, I need fire because, you know, I need to move, and I need to do things. Oh,
Yeah.
earth, you know, and yeah, I need to get organized in my life, you know, like look at your finances, you know, that's the other thing with earth, you know, like finances, you know, keep your checks, you know, and balances, keep your checkbooks, you know, in order. How are your bank accounts, your debt? Because the earth is money, you know, earth signs, and earth, the earth element is associated with money. You know, like keep your, how are you aware of your debt? Are you aware of your finances? How are you, you know, or just like, oh, waiting that they will resolve on their own? No, like, you know, take charge of that. So, you know, there is some logic to it. In air, there's logic to it too, but water, no, what feelings, what is this going to do for me? So it's a matter of like, no, we need everything, because then you're going to be prone to diseases, because you're literally not, you're lacking compassion for yourself and for others, and you're just going to, you know. So what's medicine for water? Medicine for water is doing yoga to bring you back into your body. Hold that position for a few minutes, you know. Yeah, try holding, you know, a position for 10 breaths. How is it going to be? I'm pretty sure a lot of things are going to come up for you that are just going to be like, oh my God, like, you know, feelings that you have buried, because you're literally just doing that. You're not reading, you're not cleaning, you're not, you know, running. You're literally like in your body, you know, doing movement meditation like Tai Chi. It's very helpful because it's contemplative, and meditating also. But you know, gotta work with people if they have a lot of fire and they're missing the water element. You can sit them down. It's so hard for them, you know, like to meditate is going to be so hard. So that's why I like something like Tai Chi, that it's still, you know, movement, but it's more slower and contemplative, helps them to be in their body, and such as it's yoga too, with, you know, and that is just a channel to get to meditating, to get to meditation, because that will be the ultimate task.
Mm. You have to like take baby steps to the
Excellent.
meditation, right?
Yes, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yes, my
It
missing
is.
element is air, and I have literally have to force myself to raise my hands. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna raise my hands, not because I
Oh,
want to, but because I have to practice. I have to exercise my muscle. I have to, like, you know, I gotta be okay with being uncomfortable. Like, you know, so that's how, you know, that's how the only way out is through.
Yeah, it's so
So
interesting too, because
yeah.
you have so much information and stuff to share. Like once you start talking, you have
Yeah.
lots to say. So it's interesting that it's like the physical act of like, hey, I'm here. Look at me. Look at what I'm gonna
Yeah.
say. Like that's the real part. It's not gathering the information or having it. It's saying, I know something and I want to share it. And
yes,
everybody's gonna look at you, right? Like
yes,
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. We're so complicated.
We are. If you want to find out, for anyone that is watching, want to find out more about the elements, you know, Deborah
Mm,
Silverman is just amazing. My mentor. She's an astrologer and psychotherapist, and the missing element. She wrote this book.
ooh,
It's fantastic. It has everything about the elements. It's so easy. It's a very easy book to read, and it has so much information, and it helps so much to awaken. You don't need to know anything about astrology. You know, this is just very it's very practical. So you don't have to know anything. You don't even need to know like necessarily your chart. Just by reading everything, you'll find out, you'll see, oh my God, yeah, this is where I have too much of, this is where like I have I'm lacking. So it's an excellent book to get you, you
mhm.
know, to get you started.
Awesome. Yeah, I can now
Thank
see
you
with
so much.
that my air or my fire and my earth are sort of like in conflict with each other because I have four of each. So, and I can feel that battle. I know what that is. Like I recognize it like after hearing it, like that is what it is. So yeah. Yeah, that looks like a good book to add to my little astrology collection that I'm starting.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Lucia, for that information. Um, Yeah, lots to think about now, and
Mhm.
to be more informed and compassionate with my daughter and husband. Um, yeah, it's very helpful. I like that part of it, the relationship part.
Me too.
And thank you, Andrea, for your time this morning and contributions, and being vulnerable with your personal relationship as well. And we will, for more for Lucia, and to book a one-on-one astrology appointment with her, have your chart done, and, partners, kids, anything like that, you can go to thesparklewithin.com and she will happily help you out. She's amazing. And we'll see you back here next week. Thanks.